welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm going to be working on Stretch the Sketch. This is a hop hosted by Janet from Galaxy Girl Creations. I will have links to her channel below. We get a sketch each month and then we're to stretch it. Sometimes people shrink them down into a smaller sized layout than the sketch is, and some people like me use the sketch to create a 2-page layout, and that is what I'm going to be doing today. Let's pop the sketch up here. I believe it was created by Laura Whitaker. Thank you, Laura, for your awesome sketch. And I have a bunch of products sitting here on my desktop. I have a stencil and some inks, some Distress Oxide inks. I have some alphas. I believe these are Jen Hadfield alphas. I have my pictures. This is a project that my husband did on our very first and actually only home that we've ever owned. He replaced the deck on the back because we lost a sale of the home over the deck because our realtor didn't tell us that was an issue. And so he drove from Tennessee back to Virginia to repair it, and so that it would be up to code. I've also got 3 sheets of Mr. Fix-It from Mente papers. I have some stuff here for fussy cutting. Piece of dark brown cardstock, and I have this pack of die cuts. I haven't gone through this. I don't know what I'm using, and I also pulled the fussy cut elements out as well. I haven't decided what I'm going to be using there. I've got 2 pieces of craft cardstock for my double page, and then I have a bunch of some assemblage required embellishments. I just kind of pulled a whole bunch of stuff because I'm not sure where or what I'm going with here. So I just wanted to make sure I had options for embellishments. May or may not use any of those. We'll see. Like I said, I've got inks and a stencil. So I'm going to pause. We're going to get started with this layout. I'll be right back. So I don't know if you caught in the sketch, it is divided on the diagonal into 2 triangles. Because I'm making this a double page layout and I don't want to cut into that many sheets of this paper, I am just going to make an 8x8 square of this black denim paper. I'm going to tape one side of it down to my trimmer so that I don't have to have a hard time holding the paper as I cut it on the diagonal. And then I'm just going to have 2 corners, one in the top left and one in the bottom right, just to kind of my nod towards her diagonal look on her sketch. So I haven't really decided where I'm going with this layout. I just pulled a whole bunch of stuff and some papers and just thought I would do my best. So next up, I knew that I wanted to use this gorgeous rusty patina. I love this paper so much, and probably should go see if there's more of it at my local scrapbook store. I am lucky enough to have one of those within a half an hour of my house, so that's kind of cool. But I cut it in half, so I have 2 6x12 pieces of it to go through the middle because the photos are lined up along the middle with pattern papers layered up underneath it, as well as a few banner elements. Now I chose not to use my banner dies. Instead, I am going to be using, well, I guess there's still a banner die, they're just not the fishtail kind. And so I'm going to use those instead of the fishtail banner. And those are by Spellbinders. That's kind of what I'm playing with right now. I'm trying to decide which size to go with, the largest or the second largest, and it looks like the second largest wins. So I weeded out one of the photos. I printed these photos a long time ago, and they are 4x6. So I'm not going to be able to get all 5 on there by lining them up. So I just kind of chose the ones that I felt showed the story the best, and just weeded one of them out because I didn't really want to reprint these photos. These aren't really the most favorite photos in the world to scrapbook, so I'll just do the 4 and it'll be good. It'll be fine. Everything's fine, right? So I am scuffing up the edges of this paper. It scuffs up really nicely. Not as nicely as 49 at Market paper, but it does a pretty good job. And I really like this collection. I was quite surprised how much I like these collections. And it would mix really well with 49 at Market's Rust and Rev, which is why I'm not hoarding this collection, but I am being very careful of how much I use of it, because I still have probably, I think we have 100 photos of my husband rebuilding his Jeep, which means I need a lot of paper. And this one, like I said, I feel like would mix very well with Rust and Rev. So I will probably use the rest of it with the Rust and Rev that I have left. I say that like I didn't just buy almost every sheet of paper again yesterday while I was at the scrapbook store that is very close to my house. I spent yesterday hanging out with my friends, and we did a field trip to the store, which is Simple Pleasures here in Colorado Springs. So I'm having issues with my ATG gun. When I packed it up to take it home yesterday, I tore the tape on the roll. And so I just kind of tried to put it back together off camera, and apparently I did a really poor job. So it rolled up weird. Go figure. But I'll fix it later. I have 2 ATG guns, so I'll just pull the other one out and use it the rest of the time on this layout. So I'm getting my papers, my background papers on here, just kind of trying to make sure that I know where things are going. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when I glued down the 6x12 pieces in the middle, I only put adhesive down the center. And that the reason for that is I know that I'm going to be tucking things underneath it, especially those banners that I cut. So I want to make sure that I'm able to do that easily. Now I'm going to get out my inks and this stencil. This stencil came from AliExpress. I just opened it for the first time. I just thought it was an interesting stencil and thought it kind of mimicked what's on the pattern paper fairly well. I think that if I had taken more time to do a little bit more ink blending, I might have been able to mimic that paper a lot better. As it is, I'm just kind of adding a little bit of color to the craft cardstock so that it's not just plain. And I chose craft over white because I didn't want to use white for this layout. I thought that the craft would look better, and I'm pretty happy with how this one ended up turning out in the end. I do bring in some green cardstock for the banner pieces. There's some like green color in this collection a little bit and in some of the embellishments, so I felt like that wasn't a huge stretch. Again, I'm just kind of playing with the stencil. I'm not trying to make a big mess with it because I know that I'm going to have things along the bottom and it's going to partially cover up the stenciling. So I'm just kind of playing around with it a little bit. I should have brought in scorched timber instead of the tea dye. I didn't end up using the tea dye oxide because I felt like it wouldn't show up at all on the cardstock. I didn't try it. It might have been fine, but I just only ended up using these 2. And I'm just, like I said, I am literally just playing, kind of just adding some stuff here and there. And I'm going to add water to it here in a little bit just to, because it's water. The Distress inks are all water reactive, and the oxides are fun because then you get this chalky look to it, and it's really a cool look. So I think I'm about done with the inking. I'm going to put my ink pad back up underneath the bottom, setting the tea dye one aside, grabbing my Tim Holtz sprayer that I have there, and I'm just spritzing water on it, and I'm going to roll a paper towel over the top of it to soak up the extra. Now, of course, this does cause my paper to buckle a little bit as it dries. So because it's not mixed media paper, I do deal with a little bit of buckling. So this is the green paper that I brought in for the banner pieces. And then I grabbed this gear stencil out as well so that I could just kind of continue playing. I don't even remember where I got this stencil or who it's by or anything. It wasn't in the packaging. So maybe Simple Stories, I don't know. But I'm just adding a little bit of gears on kind of the point area. The top area I'm mostly ignoring because I'm going to be sticking that up underneath layers. You're not going to see it. I will also ink the edges, the three edges that I know will be seen a little bit. That's kind of fun to me, just to ink up just a little bit of the edges. I feel like I don't play with my inks as much as I could or should, so this has just been kind of a fun layout today. I'm almost winging it. I don't typically wing anything on camera. I only wing it when I'm scrapbooking just for fun. I don't typically do that on camera, but today I'm just kind of winging it a little bit, channeling my inner Kristen, scrapping on the fly. That's how she rolls. And so I'm channeling my inner Kristen. That's what I'm doing. So on the photos, I'm just kind of checking out again. I know that I'm going to need to trim those landscape photos just a tad. I want to matte them, and I don't want to completely cover up the gorgeous background paper. I really love that piece of paper. Like I said, I'm going to have to see if I can get a hold of a couple more pieces. So that fourth banner I decided was too wide, and I recut it and re-inked it off camera. This is a Tim Holtz die that I recently purchased on eBay. I have a set of two. This one makes this lovely border. And so, oops, I just tore that piece. It's fine. I'm actually not going to end up using it, but I did tape it back together with some washi. But I need to be really careful. So I'm just using this emery board to scuff up this paper, or to expose the white core mostly. This type of paper is great for distressing because it has that white core, and I just think that was really fun. So there, I fixed it with some washi tape. I don't end up using that one, but I will save it because I will use it maybe in another video. So now I'm going to just kind of place these in here. I'm sticking that border up in the top, and this is why I wasn't real worried about the amount of stenciling that I did, because I knew that I was going to add this border up here, and I didn't want to cover up too much of my work. Same with the lower part. There's just a little bit of extra color popping out. Now I'm going to take these 4x6 photos, and I'm going to trim them each down about a ½ inch. I think I even do the portrait mode one as well, because I just decided that they were, I want to matte them. I had decided I wanted to matte them, and I knew I needed to trim them down if I was actually going to matte them. So I pull out a piece of, it's a wood grain basil, which really makes me happy. And so that is what I'm going to matte these with. I believe I do that off camera, I think. But now I'm going to just kind of start playing with some of these embellishments that I have. A lot of these embellishments that I'm playing with, I think we're in an advent calendar for 2023. I am not 100% sure about that because I took all of my some assemblage required embellishments and I put them in a box and I keep them kind of near where I scrap. And so I'm not sure for sure which ones came in the advent calendars unless they were the advent calendar that I just opened. A lot of those I do know because I just opened them, but it's been a year for the others, so I'm not positive. So I'm taking these 3x4 cards and I'm trying to get to the ones that I think that I'm going to fussy cut. I end up only fussy cutting 2 of them. And then a couple of others, I take 2 of the I'm not sure what that you would call it, but the one with the drill on it that's right there to the right, I am going to fussy cut that drill, but that background it's on, I take two of the back sides of those right here, you can see, and I'm going to cut them in half, and I'm going to scuff them up, and I'm actually going to use those to tuck underneath my photos as yet another layer. There was a little bit of layering on Laura's sketch, and so I really wanted, you know, to be kind of fair and put some more layers underneath here without digging into more of this collection's paper. So that's why I'm bringing in the cardstock and just kind of playing around with these 3x4 cards. So the other one that I actually, oh, you know what? I did fussy cut 3. I think I do at least 2 of them on camera. One of them I think I did off camera. But I fussy cut a drill, and I fussy cut a tool bag and a pair of gloves is what I end up fussy cutting. And then I don't use any of the ephemera from this collection or any the fussy cutting from that bigger sheet that I showed at the beginning. I end up not using those at all and just putting them back into the collection. By the time I got to this point, I realized if I wanted to use any of the Some Assemblage Required's embellishments, that I was going to have to not use as many of the fussy cut elements. So, and that was fine because some of those Some Assemblage Required embellishments I actually purchased for this set of photos, and some, you know, I got in kits, but I really wanted to get a few of those things on this layout just so that I could say that I had actually dug into my precious hoarded Some Assemblage Required embellishments. It's silly to hoard stuff, but I do that for a while until I find the perfect photos for things. I know I'm not the only one who does that. So I am taking my sweet time fussy cutting this bit here. I think this is the largest element that I fussy cut. The rest of them, I like I said, I only cut the gloves out on one and the tool bag on another. So here's where I'm taking that paper and I'm sticking it up out of the top, like I said, just to add one more layer back there. I'm just kind of giving myself an idea of what things are going to look like as I put and play with them. So now I have this set of tools, a set of rulers. I pull out the rulers and I go through them and I choose 2, and then I end up not using them at all. I was going to layer them up underneath the photos, and I just really couldn't make it work in a manner that I liked it. So I end up just leaving them out altogether. And these were an advent calendar. I believe they were from 2024, actually. So I'm just going to put them back in their little plastic baggie, and I'll use them another time. I know for sure I want to get the under construction sign on there, and I want to get some of these gears on here as well, but I also want to get some of these wood veneer tools, and I end up using almost all of the gears and 2 or 3 of the tools. I believe I use a hammer, a screwdriver, the hand saw, and then that little round piece is, I believe, a saw blade. I'm pretty sure he used one of those on this project. So I just thought I would just try to use some of the things that the tools that I thought he would have used for this project. So I went ahead and I went off camera and I glued all of the background elements down, and now I am adding splatters without the photos on top. Sometimes, actually most of the time, I do my splattering after the layout's finished as a finishing touch. But with this, I knew I wanted to get a lot of splatters on here in several different colors. So I went ahead and I removed my photos so that there wouldn't get anything on it. And now I'm just using, I think I end up using Scorched Timber, Speckled Egg. I use a green, I think it's peeled paint. And then I end up using my Delusions white linen as well, because I was really having trouble getting some of the colors to show up really well. Like the Scorched Timber looks really good on everything but the black denim. The Speckled Egg looks really good on the black denim, but it didn't show up as well on the green flags as well as I would have liked. And the Peeled Paint only showed up somewhat. I think I end up with several big splotches that get covered up, which is kind of a bummer. But anyway, I wanted to get quite a bit of splattering on here because it is something that I really like the look of. So here's where I'm bringing in the white linen. And of course, since it's white and this is a lot of dark, it shows up gloriously on here. And of course, I get it all over my black table. I love my table. I'm not real sure I'm a fan of the black tabletop. It shows so much dust, dirt, ink. I took it entirely apart, everything off the top of my table. It is 4 foot by 10 and I cleaned it really well last week. It's already dusty again. What a waste of time. So I've matted the photos. I've inked up the edges of the photos with the Scorched Timber that was left on my foam round. I might have added a little bit more here and there. I wasn't trying to get a lot of saturation. I was just kind of trying to bring out some of the wood grain on the cardstock. That would be like a really fun thing to do if you were using a full piece of it, like in a strip somewhere, and then just use ink to ink up that wood grain because it's kind of embossed on that cardstock. It's actually a really nice cardstock. I remember when Bazzill was really doing a lot of those textured cardstocks, and I bought a lot of them. So at this point, I have my fussy cut pieces out, and I guess I only fussy cut the one drill piece on camera. The rest of it I fussy cut off camera. Now I'm just kind of placing the embellishments down, and then I'll shut the camera off and I'll glue them down. At first I thought I would put that drill right there and that I would add journaling on that one banner that is lower than the other 3, but I don't end up doing that. I end up tucking my journaling in with the drill. The drill ends up where it is currently, but I'm pretty happy with the placement of the embellishments at this point. All right, I got the layout completely finished. I'm pretty happy with this lovely grungy layout. I love playing with mixed media like this and just kind of making a mess and enjoying myself. It was quite fun. Of course, it didn't hurt that I had some awesome product both from Mintay and some assemblage required to play with. I did add in my journaling here on this label. This is an illustrated faith label, and I print and cut them out as I need them. I have a binder that I keep near my desk to make it easy for me to grab them, and once I'm out of a set of labels, I do just continue to reprint. So I always have these amazing labels to journal with or to tuck behind things. So I'm pretty happy with this, and I just want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. Please check out that description box below my video. There is a playlist for Stretch the Sketch, and you'll get to see what everybody else does with this amazing sketch. And I'll see you guys in a few hours. I have Scraplift Crafternoon goes live on my channel today as well. So there will be 2 videos today for your viewing pleasure if you would like. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Talk to you later. Bye.